Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and don't mind the noise in the background. It is my air conditioning. It is super hot in my house. So, I said my house like I own a house or something like that. My apartment. But yeah, it's super hot, so bear with me. But today we have this thread again, which is still ongoing, which is crazy. We have a lot of dev replies on this page and on page 72. It's about the developments, pretty much has to do with snowballing. And what snowballing is, people who don't know, is pretty much when, what do you call it? When one kingdom just takes over the map, or a couple of kingdoms take over the map too quick, hence snowballing, like they snowball out of control. And what this thread is set out to do is the dev pretty much, after every update, gives more information about how everything is going, how stuff is changed in 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line of in-game time, how many towns and castles are captured, how do the different kingdoms grow and fall, and stuff of that nature, right? So we're going to start here, and we're just going to see how much we can get done in this video. Might make a part 2 because there's a lot of replies, and some came in just yesterday. So yeah. But first, we have the dev starting out saying thank you for the tests to the 2 people who did do tests up over here, as you can see. And he states, what is this? He has a question. Did you combine very rich and rich, or there were no very rich labeled clans? I'm guessing he's talking about right over here. These labels. He just means by like what clans are actually, wealthy and well off. And then he says, it seems our labeling for average as financial situation is not large enough. We should take some space from poor. I will report it. Also, very poor can take some space from poor. Okay. He's just saying change the ranges. It's not very important. Then he states, actually, I just checked the gap for average and is already large enough. Interesting. Maybe 0 to 20, 20 to 40. 40 to 150, 150 to 450, 450 plus suits better because when clan money goes below 30k, clan leaders start to go to economical savings more maybe, and that's why more clans with leaders have money around 30k. Okay, so he's just pretty much stating how different clans are classified as being, either poor, very poor, poor, average, rich, and very rich. Just how much dinars they have in total. Then he shows the code on how this is actually gotten. As you can see, there's the is it called the variable? I forgot. Listen, like I said, I took a couple coding classes. It just wasn't for me. But yeah, there's the variable, and there's how you get it with the if statement. And depending on how much you have, you're going to get what they are called, right? Either average, rich, very rich, poor, and very poor. So this is the values they have right now, but he's thinking he should change them. Okay, kind of a small change, not really, just more, text-wise change, UI, as you would say it. And then he goes, nice. Then we have another player saying, nice test, thanks, by the way. Has been war length increased in 1.6. Okay, so has war length increased in 1.6? That was one thing we do need increased. Dev says I can send latest war data to Blood Griffin until weekend, and we can see the latest situation. And he says thanks for these dates to another person in this thread. He said these days I also count number of armies in each year, and it is about 1 per kingdom as average. Changes between 0, 1, 2, and 3, mostly 1. We'll try to reduce it to 0.8. Okay. So she put it down. Interesting. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot more interesting when there's more armies going around. I think 1 is a little bit low. Maybe I'm mistaken. It also depends on the size of the kingdom, but I feel like even with the starting positions, I feel like 2 would be a good average of armies that are patrolling around. But maybe that's not good for the economy because it does take a lot out as well. Okay. So that will be reduced, as we can see. And then we have a person saying, sorry, maybe misunderstanding something. 1 army per kingdom per year. Is it maybe per week? Okay. And the dev states, I collect data at different moments for army count. The value is average of all moments. You can count each day, or once in each 5 days, or once in each 50 days. If your sample count is big enough, you will always see the average army count per kingdom is 1 at the moment. At each moment. Okay, so he's saying that there's 1 always active, is what he's pretty much saying, on average. Okay. And they want to put that down just a little bit to 0.8. So sometimes there won't be 1 available, is what he's saying. Then we have another player saying, this is Blood Griffin. What's it called? He's saying, playing recently, I noticed that 1.5.10 that enemy clans can now offer to buy prisoners from you, which gives you a big side notification that pops up, an offer with the option to for accept or decline. Yeah, that was one of the changes we saw in the patch notes. When I saw it, the first thing that came to my mind is that this is one way how I imagine peace offerings coming to the player if they are king. Interesting, yes. A lot of stuff can actually come this way. If this same system is used for a lot of different things, it would be great. What I mean by this is let clan leaders who are not happy with their current clan or not happy with their current kingdom pop up on the right side and be like, hey, are you looking for any recruits? We are a clan. We're looking for a new place to actually be at home or whatever the text is going to be. But that's another way where the AI actually connects with the player. And a lot of stuff that people talk about when it comes to immersion and this and this and that and how the game feels a little bit dead is because you have to, as the player, make all the interactions happen. Except from being attacked, right? That's the only way where the AI actually interacts with you is when they try to attack you. But what would be cool is if there was more interactions where they came up to you for things like, hey, can I join you? Or hey, can I we're a mercenary group. Do you need our services? Something like that. Or even let's say you're traveling across thing, and then let's say just for a quest or something, whoever the quest giver is like, hey, I just saw you strolling by. Do you want to do this quest for me real quick? I'm paying very good. This is just certain stuff like that would make it a lot better. I think using that system, I do agree. I think it would be great to implement it with that system. Then he says, obviously this would be a big fundamental change to how current peace system works. Currently, once the player joins a faction, other factions no longer get to make peace with them, and it sits solely in the hands of whatever faction the player is a part of. True. He states, because of this limitation, the player kingdom can't do what other AI kingdoms can do, and I think it even stops what the AI ones might be trying to do. We know that AI kingdoms will sometimes essentially renegotiate tribute by declaring war and then instantly asking for peace so that it lowers the tribute then pay, or increase the tribute to the other side pays. True, they have done that. But because the AI kingdoms can't make peace, they end up declaring war and being stuck until the player faction decides it wants peace. True. They say it's another example is when a player kingdom is already at war with an AI kingdom, then another AI kingdom declares war on the first AI kingdom. The first AI kingdom will make peace with the AI kingdom instead of the player faction, even though technically it would make sense for them to make peace with the player's faction. So what he's stating there is, let's say you're at war with the AI. Another AI decides to attack your opponent. And what's going to happen is they're going to make peace. The two AIs are going to make peace with themselves before they make peace with you because you have to initiate it, which is true. Then he states, honestly, I prefer it to be a kingdom vote on whether to accept or decline the peace treaty. It would also be fine if it was just left to the king to decide through a pop-up like the prisoner one. I agree. I think if it was decided by the king, that would also be fine. I know this would bring up the issue of the player faction not working like the AI kingdoms, since AI kingdoms don't get to choose to accept or decline peace offerings, but I'd argue that the player faction is already different from AI kingdoms, since the player kingdom is always required to vote and spend influence to make peace. True. Next issue would be what happens if a player declines a peace offer. I think that maybe put a time limit on when the AI kingdoms can ask again. Yes, they've done it in the past. That is viable. But still let the player offer peace, meaning the player can now offer peace, but it will now be more favorable to the AI. Also, if the AI kingdom is at war with multiple people and needs to get out of the war with one of them, even if the player is the best choice, if the player rejects, then the AI moves on to the next faction to make peace with. We'd love to hear others' thoughts on letting the AI kingdoms make peace with the player kingdom and how to tackle some of the issues I brought up. I agree. I agree with most of the stuff he said. I think, again, the same way that the the side notification pops up when they're asking to buy your prisoners, it can be implemented to so many different features, like for real. And I think it would increase the immersion. I think it would increase so much because a thing that makes a lot of games great, in my opinion, right, is sometimes you need a little random. You need a little random. And what I mean by this, for example, one of my favorite games is Fallout, right? And in Fallout, there's random encounters. In Skyrim, I'm pretty sure it works the same way. I didn't play much Skyrim. I was more of a Fallout guy. But, yeah, games with random encounters, games that kind of change as you play it, and sometimes stuff goes differently, it's very good. And it's very good when the player doesn't have to activate anything. It just comes to the player. And with that being said, if more stuff came to the player as you were playing, in Bannerlord, it would feel like it's a back and forth, not just a player does all type of situation, where it would feel more like, it does feel that way, but it could feel more that way, a lot more. And I think if this was implemented, like the stuff that I stated, like, clans wanted to join you because they don't like their current kingdom, or mercenaries want you to hire them, or even quests, quest givers popping up and being like, hey, are you available to do this quest? Stuff like that would be very good. It would be very, very good. Deverplas says, 5 days ago I wrote here and I will move the suggestion internal because I 100% agree and at the same point with you. Great to hear. I posted your suggestion internal 2 days ago, explained case in long detail to avoid a possible reject with explaining why this feature is needed. However, I could not get a reply yet. Some testers only replied and they approved game needs this feature. Good. Okay, I have no idea what this is. But okay. Good. Good to hear. I think it's a good step. It's a good step in the right direction. And I think if this gets approved, it opens up the window for a lot more stuff that can get approved in the future. So, yeah, solid. He then said, then I want to show this is an easy issue and can be implemented without any risk or big work needed. I spent 1 day and added this feature to game. It is currently working, and enemy kingdoms make peace voting inside and send us offers time to time. Here you can see a peace offer from players enemy. So it's currently ready, but yet I did not get any approved. If it is approved, it can be in the game at 1.6.2. Nice. And he states because 1.6.1 tests will start soon. Peace officer, a courier with a peace officer for the peace with Western Empire has arrived. This is good. This is good. This is actually good. I'm actually happy that this stuff is being added. This is a good first step. Yes. Sensational. I really hope it does get approved. I really do. Then he states, of course, in example, they sent us an offer with our kingdom, need to pay tribute, but sometimes if the player kingdom is in good position, this will be enemy is ready to pay tribute to you. In above sample, all other clans are okay with paying 2,500. That's why they make an inside voting, and if player pays 2,500, are you okay for peace? If this peace voting accepted among enemy clans and all our kingdom clans are okay with paying 2,500 dinars, icon appears at the right and will give final decision. Normally, currently a faction does not make inside peace voting if player is a vassal at the enemy kingdom. So only way is player's kingdom to do inside voting for peace currently. This locks player kingdoms in long and everlasting wars currently in some cases. So next week I will try posting this feature. We will see what will happen. I really hope that it does get approved. I really do. I think this is a good step. It's a good feature in itself, but I'm more excited if this gets approved, what this opens up for the future of stuff getting approved. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because if this can be implemented this way, I think the stuff that I stated as well can also be implemented in this way. And yeah, we're going to have to see. Look, I don't want to get too hyped. You never know what's going to happen. But exciting news. And yeah, we got a lot more. I think I'm gonna save this for part 2 because we have a lot more on the other page. What is this? I'll read this. He says, a player says, no offense, but if I was a developer in your company and saw that post on Slack, I would not read it. It's too long. Okay, so it's called Slack, okay? And doesn't have good formatting. Generally, I assume that my colleagues won't read a message in a single paragraph containing more than 4 sentences. Okay, what is this about? Okay. You're just talking about, okay. It is what it is. Here it is to Mexico and some of the sweet, sweet hopium. True. We're here for it. We're waiting for it. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I will see you boys in the next video. I'm gonna do part 2 to this, even though literally it's like part 24 at this point because I've covered so many videos on this thread. But yeah, very excited. We'll see what happens, and from there, stay safe, boys.